Viewers, colorectal cancer is no longer just a disease of older adults. Doctors are now warning that it is increasingly affecting people in their 20s, 30s and even 40s. And it has become the top cancer killer of Americans under the age of 50. And according to American Cancer Society, more than 158,000 cases are expected to be diagnosed in the US this year. And across all age groups, colorectal cancer is the country's second leading cause of cancer deaths behind lung cancer. While overall cases and deaths have slightly declined in recent years, thanks in part of better screening, the trend among younger adults is moving in the opposite direction. Researchers report that mortality among Americans under 50 has been rising by about 1.1% a year since 2005. And this year alone, nearly 3,900 people under the age of 50 are expected to die from the disease. Doctors say the shift is alarming. Dr. John Marshall of Georgetown University's Lombardi Comprehensive Cancer Center says when he began his career, colorectal cancer in younger adults was very rare. Now, he says more and more patients in their 20s, 30s and 40s are being diagnosed, a trend he describes as deeply concerning. Risk factors at any age include obesity, lack of physical activity, diets high in red or processed meats, smoking, heavy alcohol use, inflammatory bowel disease, and also family history. Experts advise eating more fruits, vegetables and whole grains, reducing red meat consumption and staying physically active. Now, symptoms to watch out for, viewers, include blood in the stool, persistent changes in bowel habits, unexplained weight loss, abdominal pain or cramping. Doctors have stressed do not ignore these warning signs. Early detection dramatically improves survival rates. Medical guidelines have also recommended that average risk adults begin screening at age 45, though those at higher risk may need to start earlier. Screening options include stool-based tests, colonoscopies and newer blood tests. What's driving the rise among younger adults remains very, very unclear. Researchers are examining possible links to changes in gut bacteria and differences in tumor patterns. But one message is clear, viewers. Colorectal cancer is no longer just an older person's disease, and awareness, screening and early action can save lives. And to help us understand what really colorectal cancer is, we have Dr. Anita Ramesh, Senior Consultant, Medical and Pediatric Oncology. Very good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for joining us on this broadcast. Help us understand what really colorectal cancer is and how susceptible are Indians to it, ma'am.
See, the colorectal cancer is a cancer of the colon. It starts from the cecum, the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and ultimately comes out to the rectum. That is known as main large bowel or the colon. There is also a small bowel which comes after the stomach. But in what happens in these cases is that these cancers runs in family 5%. If you have 100 cases of colorectal cancer, 5 runs in family. It's called Lee-Fraumeni syndrome. It's called polyposis FAP, polyposis adenomatous familiar, adenomatous polyposis coli. So what happened? These have some genetic predisposition. Some cause is not known. So they start causing changes in the gut, the microbiome, and the causes changes in the some metaplasia, dysplasia, particularly when you eat a lot of processed food like a burger, pizza, smoked food, heated, barbecued, and they have the nitrous urea elements, ingredients put into them once you start cooking them. So they are ultra processed food, and then preservative foods, foods with a lot of ingredients which are not very natural. Okay, so they start changing the gut environment, and these changes undergo that I told you, dysplasia, metaplasia, and ultimately cancer in situ. So this brings in a lot of carcinomatous changes in the colon. So as we are young now, we have the habit, particularly after COVID, of ordering food over the phone and the net, and then the food comes which has junk foods, basically has a lot of calories, unsaturated fatty acids, and it has a lot of high calorie diet and sedentary habits, all adds to the risk factors. Along
And
with
again,
that,
Prime
smoking and
Minister Narendra
alcohol.
Modi has also red flagged obesity. So how, what is the link between lifestyle factors like, diet, you mentioned one, and obesity? How big of a threat is colorectal cancer for people who are obese?
Obesity and cancer is directly related. With your obesity, the risk of cancer rises, particularly the basal metabolic index, the BMI, is very closely related with the high. So more the obese, not only your hypertension, diabetes, your cardiac, the huge rise in cancer risk increases with obesity. So anti-obesity drive is what we are now talking about. And with your pelvic girth, particularly in women, more the pelvic girth, more the chance of having a cancer, which also includes colorectal cancer. And along with this may not be the only single factor with obesity. Your diabetes comes in, your hypertension comes in, and many of them are also addicted to alcohol, addicted to smoking. Even women also smoke nowadays. So all adds to the risk factors for developing this. And one point I want to outline is that colorectal cancer has a precancerous stage. Precancerous stage means it starts like carcinoma in situ, some small ulcer, polyps takes place, and then they slowly become malignant, which may not be the case for other cancers. So it is very easy to detect these. If you have any of these symptoms, rightly you put it on your screen, please meet the doctor. And if you have a family history, we preferably do a colonoscopy, we do a stool test. We also do, if anything suspicious, we take a biopsy. And that's what screening is, which will pick up any of the cancers at an early stage. And just to tell everybody that yes, do not smoke, do not drink, do avoid all sorts of saturated or ultra processed food with ingredients, with preservatives, with foods with smoked, barbecued, and cooked over a longer period of time, particularly red meat. Red meat is bad, like beef, lamb, this causes. But whereas white meat, lean meat that they are called, is relatively safer. And yes, restrict yourself to lean meat, and also lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of fiber like cereals, oats, okay, in your food, and like banana. They add, and once you have a good motion, what happens? These ingredients don't get absorbed in the gut, so they just keep going down, and so you feel it much more
Doctor,
healthier.
quickly, I just want
And
to
so
interrupt you here because, this is a very, very, widely debated topic. Colorectal cancer is no longer a silent killer, and people in their 20s, especially the Gen Z, they often rely on home remedies. If they have any gut issues, they rely on home remedies, and they, completely dismiss it, saying that it's just acidity, there's nothing wrong. But what are the early warning signs? If you could sum that up in like 30 to 45 seconds for our viewers.
yes, it's that you may have crampy abdominal pain while eating everything. You have hyperacidity, you may have eructation, and then sometimes diarrhea, constipation, or weight loss, loss of appetite. These are some, and a lot of passing of gas during the motion in between. So this gives you the pain, the diarrhea, the alternate constipation, the mucus discharge, the gases, loss of appetite, loss of weight, gives you a warning sign. Yes, you're not doing well with your gut. Please meet the doctor immediately. We will do the stool test. If needed, we can do a colonoscopy. We can treat the cause. Once the cause is treated, only cancer can be picked up at an early stage. So screening helps. Now, screening is recommended from the age of 45 in colorectal cancer. So that's the right time to go forward.
Right, Dr. Anita Ramesh, thank you for joining us with your valuable insights. Well, the message is very, very clear, viewers. Never ignore early warning signs. If you have issues with your gut health, or if there are any symptoms like Dr. Anita just mentioned, please get yourself some medical attention.